Good evening, everyone. Good evening. We're going to begin our meeting. It's the March 20th Board of Education meeting. We'll begin with a salute to the flag and a moment of silence for Frederick Farrow, father of Elisa Ferrara, Sherry Goodman, mother-in-law of Rachel Anuzia, Glenn Williams, father of Stacy Camarano, Kathleen Carpenter, mother of Anthony Greco, and retirees Rhonda Schumbaum and Suzanne Lawrence. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. For communications to the Board of Education, communications were received from those listed in the agenda. C, Superintendent's report. I'm going to change it over to Mr. McNamara, please.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you, Mrs. Cassidy. I'm John McNamara, Superintendent of Schools. Welcome to our meeting. We always like to start off with some good news for our superintendent's report. In this meeting, we like to recognize our all-county winter athletes, which we had another outstanding winter season here in Wantagh Athletics. We had our girls basketball team is still going strong. They left about 11 o'clock this morning to head up to the New York State Championship Final Four. They are our first ever Long Island champions, so we're thrilled for them. So we're going to recognize them at our April meeting along with Coach B. But we want to start tonight by recognizing our all-county winter athletes. So I'm going to invite Jen Keene up to introduce all of our all-county athletes from our various teams. So congratulations to all of you. Once your name is called, if you wouldn't mind just coming up, we have a certificate for you, and then we just invite you to stay up on the stage and gather for a picture as well.
Is it me? It's on. Good evening, everyone. I would just like to congratulate all of our winter athletes on a successful season. Tonight, we are recognizing all of our all-county athletes. Addison Dispenza, all-county in gymnastics. Maria Minerva, all-county in gymnastics. Samantha Nielsen, all-county in gymnastics. We have Julia Avina, all-county in competitive cheerleading. We have Kayla Spisto, all-county in competitive cheerleading. Kevin Gutfleisch, all-county in boys basketball. We have Jordan Hill, all-county in wrestling. We have Matthew Mareka, all-county and a state qualifier in wrestling. We have Sharif McMillan, all-county and a state qualifier in wrestling. We have Andrew Perez, all-county, county champion, and a state qualifier. Owen Stacklick, all-county and county champion in winter track. Ian Frazier, all-county in winter track. Ethan Chen, Nassau County champion 4x8. Okay. We have Ian Frazier again, member of the 4x8 county championship team. Sean Hart, Nassau County champion 4x800. Owen Stacklick, Nassau County champion 4x800. And as Mr. McNamara said, we'll be honoring our girls basketball team at the April meeting.
We have a couple other recognitions tonight as well. We have a couple of other award recipients, two also related to athletics. Each year, the Nassau chapter of the New York State Administrators Association for Athletics recognizes a member of support staff that support athletics. And this year's recipient in Nassau County was our very own Ronnie Stevens. So we wanted to congratulate Ronnie. Yeah. Many of you know Ronnie. Ronnie does an outstanding job in our athletic office each and every day. The award she was receiving is for providing that outstanding support. Ronnie is not only dedicated, hardworking, but just an absolute pleasure to be around. I joke with her because I always truly enjoy calling the athletic office and being greeted by Ronnie because she's just such a kind, warm person. She does an amazing job supporting a very busy office each and every day. It's like there's three of her, the amount that she does. So I just wanted to take a moment to recognize her, congratulate her on her award. She'll be receiving the award in June at their meeting then. But we want to take a moment to congratulate her from all of us and from the Board of Education. So congratulations, Ronnie. I had the pleasure last week also attending the New York State dinner for athletic administrators, and our athletic director, Jen Keene, was recognized at that event. She received the Judith Ann Knight Positive Change Award recipient award, which is for someone that has impacted the state in a positive way in bringing about significant change. Jen has been the chair for competitive cheer in Nassau County since its inception and has done an exceptional amount of work with the state in that area, and that was the area of focus for the award. It was a nice dinner, really nice recognition, and we wanted to take a moment to recognize Jen for that tonight. In addition, this week there was another dinner that Jen was recognized at with one of our officials associations. She was involved in a situation at a boys basketball playoff game just a couple of weeks ago. She is one of the co-chairs of that committee and was present at the playoffs. And one of the officials went into cardiac arrest. And Jen and several members there immediately jumped into action to to save Joe Gaskin's life. Really remarkable story. I had the opportunity to meet with Joe yesterday with Jen, just an impressive gentleman, and he is just so grateful for the team jumping in. So I just wanted to share the clip that appeared in the news yesterday.
On Long Island, we're going to show you a referee's life saved on the basketball court. He collapsed during a high school basketball game, stopping the action, and News Sports' Pacey Chang talked with him and shows us how fans jumped into action to help him.
Hey, Jim.
Hello, my friend.
How are you? I love you. Love you too.
A warm embrace between friends after a life and death situation on the basketball court.
The kick out to Jonathan Houston for the triple.
It was a high-stakes playoff game between Floral Park and West Hempstead High. Joe Gaskin was one of 3 referees officiating the game when he suddenly felt breathless.
I have a tough time catching my breath. Just give me a minute. And I think the ball, my partner said, I think the ball was there. I was picking up the ball to him to throw it to him inbound. And when I went down, I just went out.
Oh, the ref went down. Oh, man.
Joe went into cardiac arrest and collapsed. The game stopped. People flew into action, including Wantagh High School Athletic Director Jennifer Keene, who was helping to score the game.
I jumped up, I ran over, and I could immediately hear him gasping for breaths and starting to turn color.
Keene cleared court, shielding the players from the life or death emergency.
One of the people that jumped to help is Tiffany Vargas. She didn't even have children playing in the game. She was just there to support Floral Park. She also happens to be a cardiac failure nurse.
When I heard them say no pulse, that's when I immediately started to do chest compressions, and we called for the AED.
Joe, we got you, Joe. Stay with us, Joe. I just kept calling his name, talking to him. The AED was administered.
And Joe came too. He stared at everyone, confused, grateful to see Jen, who he has known for 20 years.
And then I looked up, and there was my angel Jen. I said, Jen. And she said to me, and I remember saying this, I said, do I have pants on? Which I did. I got you, you're gonna be all right.
The 64-year-old referee was rushed to the hospital. He spent a week there recovering from cardiac arrest.
You elevated from a great friend to a special friend.
Jen and the other nurses who rushed to help Joe were honored at a recent dinner. Joe was grateful to meet the people who saved him.
Those 5 individuals had no practice, no pregame. They jumped onto the court, not knowing each other's names. They executed a perfect game plan, and they saved my life. And we are joined at the hip for the rest of our lives.
Pacey Chang, News 4, New York.
It's certainly a special moment. I just wanted to invite Jen up for an award that we have for her. All right. Chris Cochran told me not to hit escape, and I hit escape, so now it's stuck, but we'll figure it out. All right, so our last recognition for tonight, too, I just wanted to compliment our team for, well, actually 2 more recognitions. One is our team for their work on getting together our science research lab. We had a grand opening at our high school just a few weeks ago, and we're super proud of that Science Research Academy. We started it 2 years ago, and we had a small cohort of students, about 20 or so students that began. The program continues to grow. Next year we're anticipating having close to 70 students participate in that program.
On Long Island, we're going to show you a referee's life saved on the basketball court. He collapsed during a high school basketball game, stopping the action, and News Sports' Pacey Chang.
There we go. Thank you. And we had our first, we had a series of competitions that students entered. LISIF was the most recent one. We had a third place winner there, Evelyn Caputo, that we're super proud of as well. So we just wanted to take a second to thank the team and congratulate Evelyn. Also tonight, we have one of our retirees in a little bit. We're going to be accepting resignation for the purpose of retirement. We have an outstanding special education aide, and Judy Abel, who's going to be leaving the district after over 25 years. Judy's been here in various roles, including substitute teacher, went back, got her degree in her time here, and has just done outstanding work for us. Mr. Burke, our principal over at Forest Lake, speaks so highly of her. We know that she's planning to spend some more time at home and really enjoy that time. So we just wanted to take a moment tonight to first thank her for her ongoing dedication to the district, and secondly, just wish her all the best in the future in her retirement. So congratulations, Judy. We have a plaque for her if you don't mind coming up. All right, and then just a budget update from me before I turn it back over to Mrs. Cassidy. We are right now in the middle of budget season. We've started our budget forums. We had our first forum last week, and we just kind of gave a general overview of the budget. We put all those presentations online, so they're available for the community. There's a page where we post each of the presentations and record all the forums as well. Our next one will be this coming Monday evening. It'll take place right here in the high school over in the cafeteria. We will have focus on personnel at that meeting as well. And and then our last one will be on April 1st, which will focus on our capital projects. So we'll focus on those as well. And then we have one kind of last general overview that we do during the day. It's Wednesday, April 2nd at the public library. So we also sent out to the community our if you can't make any of our forums, there's our budget survey. That's posted right on the main page of our district website. We certainly encourage you to fill that out. We've already started to receive responses. And then Mr. Cedrone and myself, we do some budget focus groups. We do a series of those, and those are small group conversations about our budget and any input that you may have about that. We do those virtually. They're usually groups of about 3 to 5. So we welcome participation in those. There's a link right on the main page of our website to sign up for those meetings as well. So that's just kind of overview. This is just where we currently stand for our budget. We're under the tax cap, which is about 2.89%. And that gives you kind of a general overview of where we are currently and where we anticipate being next year. And excited about some of the new offerings, a number of new programs that we're going to be offering in terms of electives at the high school, expanding in third grade some of our reading support services, expanding our special education program with an additional life skills section next year as well, a program that we've continued to grow over the past several years. And then a number of new offerings, everything from cybersecurity to broadcasting that we're going to be looking at the high school. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the expansion of our Science Research Academy to year 3. There'll be 2 propositions on the ballot for folks to vote for. The other one, other than the budget, will be some capital projects. We're going to be asking the community to approve an expenditure out of our capital reserve fund to do some roof work over at Wantagh L, some ceiling work here at the high school, some security camera upgrades, and we're doing some lighting replacements here in this auditorium. And then a number of smaller projects in a transfer to capital that we'll be doing as well to some individual spaces. Big drivers in our budget, these are the big items: special education costs and some transportation, salaries, insurance, Fortunately, this year, one of the big drivers in years past has been health insurance. That has is leveled off for this year, but that's been a significant driver. And then we're just waiting for a final number in terms of state aid. We anticipate that if the budget's adopted on time by New York State on April 1st, we'll have that final number. This is based on the projections that the governor's office initially gave us back in February. And then those numbers will be finalized. But right now we're anticipating about just shy of about $23 million from New York State in terms of aid. And just encourage people to fill out the budget survey. Like I said, it's located right on the main page of the district website. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Mrs. Cassidy.
Thank you. Continue on with the agenda. D1, approval of minutes. Is there a motion?
Move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
E1, financial reports. Is there a motion?
Move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
F, personnel. F1, approval of personnel items. Is there a motion?
Move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. G1, health services agreement. G2, special education tuition agreement. G3, special education services agreement. G4, Nassau County Directors of School Facilities Purchasing Consortium. G5, educational data services skilled trade bid. Is there a motion?
Move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
G6, donations. The Board of Education approves a donation of $1,100 from the Forest Lake Elementary School PTA for the kindergarten field trip to the Center for Science, Technology, and Learning. The Board of Education approves a donation of $1,100 from the Forest Lake Elementary School PTA for the 4th grade field trip to Old Bethpage Village Restoration. The Board of Education approves a donation of $1,040 from the Forest Lake Elementary School PTA for the 3rd grade field trip to Takapusha Museum and Preserve. The Board of Education approves a donation of $685 from the Forest Lake Elementary School PTA for an assembly spin, pop, boom by Mad Science. The Board of Education approves a donation of $2,000 from the Wantagh Elementary School PTA for an assembly So Fun game show. The Wantagh Board of Education approves a grant donation of $2,585.88 from Toshiba American Foundation to the Wantagh High School for the purpose of using microsensors and scientific computing to investigate novel questions in a science project. The Board of Education approves a donation from Ms. Nicole Pallas of an Eastman violin at an estimated value of $700 for the Wantagh High School Music Department. The Board of Education approves a donation from Bobcat of New York of a Protec snow turf pusher for the Wantagh High School at a value of $5,530. The Board of Education approves a donation of $2,287.50 from the Wantagh Middle School Yearbook Committee for the purchase of a podium for the Wantagh Middle School. Thank you to all the generous donors for their donations. 7, disposal of obsolete books. G8, disposal of obsolete equipment. G9, budget increase. G10, extra classroom activity charters. G11, authorization for legal notices. Is there a motion?
Move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. H, unfinished business, there is none. I, new business. I1, approval of Committee on Special Education and Preschool Education recommendations. Is there a motion?
Move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
J, adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're going to move on now to our organizational reports. We'll start with student government. Danny is with us tonight.
Hello everyone, my name is Danny Donahue and I'm one of the student body presidents for the 2024 to 2025 school year, along with my co-president Bella Kugal, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight because she is sick. Firstly, we would like to commend the girls basketball team for winning the Long Island Championship. Today they left for states where they will be versing the other top girls basketball teams from each region of New York. We wish them the best of luck. We are very pleased to announce that this past week was the start of spring athletics, which began this past Monday. All of the sports teams and players are excited to have started their seasons, and we have full confidence that they will all excel. This month has been excitingly busy with many events taking place in the high school. Last Friday, Bella and I hosted the annual Battle of the Classes, with the seniors claiming the overall victory. We had events such as trivia, tug-of-war, basketball, and other fun challenges and games that the students enjoyed. Through our Penny Wars event, we fundraised about $350, which we will be donating to the SSARA Club, which provides funds for Wantagh students in need. We are extremely proud to announce that we will be starting our annual Autism Awareness Month in April. We plan to decorate the showcase with information about autism in order to educate the community. In addition, we plan to hand out bracelets, make loudspeaker announcements, and more to bring light to this cause. Lastly, for the duration of this month, we have had many National Honor Society ceremonies, such as National Honor Society and Business Honor Society, with more to come, such as National English and Science Honor Society. Students have worked hard throughout their entire high school careers to maintain a certain GPA, show interest and dedication to the respective subject of the society they apply to, and more in order to be inducted. We would like to congratulate all the students that have been accepted into these societies, as being inducted is a very challenging task. Thank you for letting me give you a little insight on what is happening in the high school, and Bella and I look forward to sharing more with you next month. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. We have a very busy month, so there's a lot on the list here. We'll start with 5th grade. They had their skate-a-thon on the 26th of February. It was a big hit. They had their Spirit Wear sale wrapped up on March 10th. The Applebee's Pancake Breakfast was on the 16th, and they have their bowling night coming up on the 28th. As far as the rest of the school goes, we had a UPK Meet the Teachers night on March 11th. The new parents came in, met the teachers, met the school. It was a nice night. We had a Flow Society short fundraiser that ended on the 14th. Also on the 14th was the variety show. As always, it was a big event. Thanks to Chrissy for her 10th year and final year, unfortunately, running that. We have our Sweetheart Dance on this Friday, the 21st. STEAM night is March 27th. The theme will be Under the Sea this year. We're also having our blood drive on April 5th from 9 to 3. That was put together by Mr. Burke in memory of Jordan Landau, the daughter of Amy Landau, who was a teacher at Wantagh L and Wantagh Middle School as well. We have the Ducks game coming up on May 1st. The orchestra and band will be playing there. We also have new benches put in thanks to our beautification committee. Laura is part of that. And also as well, thanks to a lot of very hardworking people on our PTA, we have a pretty substantial surplus, and we're using some of that to purchase a new bike rack and new flooring for the Gaga pit on the playground. We also sent out a survey asking people what they think we could use some more of the surplus for, and getting some really nice ideas from that as well. And we also have our executive board members, nominees, thank you, coming next month, and the 5th grade heads as well. And that's it. Thank you.
Mandalay PTA. Wantagh L PTA. 6 to 12 Association.
612 couldn't be here. They sent me a couple of notes to read for them. They have their craft lunch coming up on March 24th. They are also doing a Double Good Popcorn fundraiser that kicks off on the 24th as well over the next 5 days. They have a crumb cake fundraiser, so check that out as well. That runs through April 11th.
SEPTA.
Hello, I'm Mary Beth, and Sophie is my co-president. We wanted to thank everyone who supported our cookie fundraiser, our St. Patrick's Day cookie fundraiser. It did very well. Our current fundraiser is with Tammy's Memorable Sweets. She's a local Wantagh mom, so we're collaborating with her, and all the proceeds that we get from that we're donating to the Nassau-Suffolk Autism Society of America for Autism Awareness Month for April. So we would like, if everyone would support that, that'd be great. Our next meeting is this coming Tuesday, March 26th. It's going to be breaking down educational barriers with technology by also another Wantagh mom, Leslie DeChera. She's an assistive technology specialist in Belmore School District. Our night at the races is on May 10th. Save the date for that. And we would like to thank the elementary schools. We're collaborating with them for sensory-friendly spaces at their spring dances. So last week was Wantagh Elementary, and tomorrow night is Mandalay and Forest Lake. So we'd like to thank everybody for that. And our SEPTA scholarships for the seniors and our Friend of SEPTA scholarship is also online on our socials. You can find the links there, and also for all our fundraisers. Thank you.
Thank you. PTA Council.
Hi, good evening, Laura Grassi.
And Chrissy Rathap.
PTA Council Presidents. Well, we want to just thank everybody for coming out to the volleyball fundraiser. It was a really fun event. We had it on February 27th. We sold over 500 tickets. We made $8,000 for senior scholarships, so we're really grateful for everyone's support. I think it was a really fun event. Kids had a good time. We sold out. We're looking for feedback, so if anybody has any feedback for us for next year, we're happy to take it.
And shout out to our VP of Fundraising, Lindsay Vogler. She really went above and beyond and did such a fantastic job with that event. And also to community member, Laura Dupkin, because she supported us financially by donating the t-shirts for the staff. Our next meeting is next Thursday, the 27th, at Wantagh Elementary School, or if you grew up in Wantagh, it's called Beach Street. And also we're still selling our magnetic notepads for $6. They're really convenient if you need to write notes to the school or just scribble something on your fridge. So those are still for sale, and they're on our member hub. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sports Booster Club. Performing Arts Booster Club. And the Wantagh Foundation. Okay. Okay, we're going to open up now for public comment. If anybody would like to come up and say their name and has any comment, or we would welcome that. I do want to say before we get started, please, we're here to listen, and we are concerned with everything everybody has to say, but please understand that we are not allowed to make any comments about personnel or any students during a public meeting. So, but we are listening.
All right, thank you. My name is Rich McKeel. I'm a Wantagh resident. I am not only a father of two Wantagh Warrior girls. Myself and my wife, Maureen, went through this school system and are graduates. We have one in Beach Street and one in the middle school. I'm here today to speak for John Schiffo. John Schiffo was my gym teacher in Mandalay. He's my varsity lacrosse coach, and more importantly, he's my friend. Earlier this season, John was told that he's no longer going to be the coach for the boys' middle school. Excuse me. I'm here today. I'm sorry, I lost my thing. I did this in font 22 for Scott DeVerna. Bad idea. Earlier this season, John was told that he was no longer going to be the coach for the boys' middle school lacrosse team. Not because there was someone else in the district who wanted the job, or because our lacrosse program wanted to go in a different direction. Actually, he was not given any reason. He was simply just told, it's just time. First of all, the fact that this was not discussed with James Polo, the varsity head coach, who was responsible for our great lacrosse program, shows a complete lack of respect for not only James, who was doing a great job here, and who just won the county championship last year. It's a lack of respect for this lacrosse program, which is far and away the best program we have here in Wantagh. More importantly, this action taken by the athletic director, which reflects this Board of Education and Superintendent, demonstrates a complete lack of respect and gratitude for John Schiffo, a man who not only by far played the biggest role in developing Wantagh's greatest lacrosse program, Wantagh's great lacrosse program, a man who gave 42 plus years here in Wantagh to our children and the community as a coach, a teacher, and as an athletic director. And after All this, all he gets is, it's just time. I'm here today because of the respect and the gratitude that I have for John and everything that he has done for this school district, this community, and for my family. I graduated Wantagh High School in 1999 alongside my twin brother Keith. In third grade, we were part of the first Wantagh PL lacrosse team. That team was coached by Claudio Ficini. Claudio is no longer with us, but he played a crucial role in the development of this great Wantagh lacrosse program, as well as in our lives. John Schiffo makes it a point to keep Claudio's legacy known within this program. Because of them, we give back to this program and volunteer our time for the girls' PAL program. We were captains in 1999. This was the last year that Scott DeVerna played on the team. Scott's sister Nicole's here. Thanks for coming, Nicole. Scott wore the number 22. Scott's legacy lives on and is the cornerstone of this Wantagh lacrosse program. Every year, that number is worn by the most deserving player on the team. Not necessarily the best player on the team, but the player who demonstrates the best character, is hardworking, and is the leader of the team. John Schiffo was not only responsible for starting this tradition, he keeps it going year after year. And it's probably one of the best traditions out of any high school program in the country. After high school, my brother and I went on to play at Syracuse University and were members of the 2000 Division I Men's Lacrosse National Championship team. Our younger sister Lauren also ended up with a scholarship to Loyola to play lacrosse a few years later. That was right around the start of the great women's program. I am now a captain in the New York City Fire Department. I believe it is only important to mention this because I've been blessed so far with this successful career that I love, which I owe to those years of being a student athlete. That's what being a student athlete does. It continues to teach us valuable life lessons that helps us succeed in whatever field or career we choose. At the end of the day, for my job, my number one goal is to make sure my men and I get home safe. And I only mention this because I believe as an athletic director, a superintendent, and a member of the Board of Education, you guys only have one simple goal, and that is to do whatever is best for our children. The decision to fire John Schiffo as a middle school coach falls short of that goal. It makes no sense and is only hurting our children. This is not only unacceptable, it is not the way a district should be treating one of their own. John had a 42-year career here in Wantagh. He's the most influential person to this great lacrosse program and spent most of his life building this program to what it is today. More importantly, through his love and kindness, he has had a positive effect and influence on countless students and athletes. He is an example of what all teachers and coaches should strive to be. I believe that is important to shed light on because I don't think this administration understands. I also don't think that they appreciate what this lacrosse program means to Wantagh. If learning valuable lessons through sports is what we want for our children, then the idea of increasing these opportunities by extending their athletic careers into college would be a great measure of success. The men's and women's lacrosse program here in Wantagh is simply far above the rest. We send more student athletes to college. We send more student athletes to college for lacrosse here in Wantagh than all the rest of the sports combined. Go ask the top 3 football or baseball colleges in the country about Wantagh. Unless they've been to a concert at Jones Beach, they probably never heard of this town. There is not one men's or women's college lacrosse in the country that is not aware of this program. Make no mistake, I am not here to badmouth the other programs in Wantagh. Most programs are achieving great things, and I love seeing every one of them succeed. But for example, in the year 2001, the boys won the states that year. That year, they had to make their way through the number 1 and 2 ranked teams in the country. This year, the boys are getting ready to have a good year. Let's get the number 1 team in the country Put them in Wantagh, and let's see what they do against our boys. I guarantee they will give them one hell of a game. Probably even pull off the win. Now let's do that same thing in football. Not only would the score be painful, there's a good chance someone's going to get hurt. I'm not here to put down the other programs. I just don't think you guys understand. That's just the way things are here on Long Island. It's the way things are here in Wantagh. Just last week, my wife and daughters were supporting our Long Island basketball champs. Congratulations to them and good luck tomorrow as they start their journey to win the states. Girls had a great time. I believe they also have a bunch of girls who will be continuing their careers as student athletes in college. Those girls have scholarships to top lacrosse programs. I also believe that there's a member of the board here with a son who will be continuing to experience his invaluable life lessons, courtesy of the Wantagh lacrosse program. Our athletic director never had the courtesy, but more than that, the common sense or professionalism to talk to James Polo to see what kind of impact this would have on the middle school team. This middle school team is the boys' introduction into this great lacrosse program. I did, however. I asked James. He explained that Chief never did anything the wrong way. He always went above and beyond and treated our kids with respect and care. He would be there at 2:30 every day and stay until 5:30, make sure all was good in the locker room and everyone was safely heading home. He explained that John was not only overqualified for his own head coaching spot, but obviously for the middle school job. He explained that John's going to be an enormous loss for this program. He stated nothing I didn't already know, but he went on and on about how John was not only a great coach, but way more importantly, about the influence he has on our children. John Chiffo has spent his life building this program. We still don't know what he did. I think he deserves at least that. He also deserves to go out on his own terms. We should be praising him right now. I'm sure if he did make a mistake, and he's unaware of it, as we all are, that's why we're here today, he would stand up and apologize to get that job back. Not for the money or to make a point, but that's just because what he loves to do. He loves being a coach for the kids. It's what's best for our children, and it's best for the community. How many letters have you guys already received on this one? How many interviews have you met with people to back up John? Right now there's a petition going on. I believe it's up to 700 or something that we put on to, everyone saying they're supporting him and they want his job back. And that was done literally, I guess, I think my wife posted something 48 hours ago. I'm sure you guys will be getting a lot more. I guess the best question to ask is, after all this, who do you have to replace him? I know the answer is nobody. I know you got someone for the 8th graders, no one for the 7th graders. I know with 100% certainty the solution will be a huge downgrade from what you already had. It's not right, and it's a mistake on your end. It was handled unprofessionally and is a clear example of poor leadership in this great Wantagh district. Ironically, this has given me another valuable life lesson. As I move forward in my career, lead the brave men and women of the FDNY, I will file this one away as a leadership lesson of what not to do. Thank you.
Mr. McNamara, Ms. Keene, Mrs. Cassidy, Mr. Greco, Mrs. Perfetti, Mr. Fisher, and Mrs. Reach, anybody else I may be missing, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is John Savage, and I'm a 1999 graduate of Wantagh High School and current Wantagh resident. I have 2 sons that attend Wantagh Elementary School and a 3rd son who will be there in 2 years. I've been a teacher and coach for 17 years, currently working at the North Shore School District teaching physical education and coaching varsity men's lacrosse. I had the privilege of meeting John Chiffo in 1st grade when I started attending Mandalay Elementary School living on Mermaid Avenue, same block that Danny Facen, who's sitting in the audience, also grew up on. Down the block from my best friends who are twin brothers and were both the best men at my wedding, Keith and Rich McKeel. Rich was the person that just spoke. C, as we fondly called John Chiffo, instantly became my hero, like many physical education teachers become if you are into sports, which I very much was. As I mentioned, I also followed in his path. Like many of his former students and players have done, many of which are here with me tonight, who are my brothers, not just my friends. That's how much Coach Chiffo and this sport meant to us, that we are doing the same thing he did as a profession, all while supporting our families in the town we grew up in. Many of us followed in our hero's footsteps. What an impact this man has left on all of our lives, and for that, we are forever indebted and truly grateful. Mr. C, along with Rich and Keith's dad, who's also in the audience, Ken McKeel, and Wantagh Youth Lacrosse legend, Claudio Ficini, played pivotal roles in introducing myself and many others in the room to the great sport of lacrosse at an early age. Now I would like to talk about our town. Yes, we are inbred here in Wantagh, and please take that lightly. What I mean is, many of us that grew up here still reside here and choose to raise our families in this great place. Growing up in Wantagh, when people asked us what town we were from, many of us would often reply, God's country, New York, as we simply love this town. Wantagh is a special place, and I have a wide range of experience with various populations throughout New York City and Long Island throughout my career. The close, tight-knit community is second to none, and you won't find many, if any, on Long Island quite like it. We used to go out in college and after college with a group of 16 guys or so. People always used to compliment us and admire us because we had so many people in our friend group. They couldn't believe this many people that grew up together are still as close and tight-knit as we were. Out of the 16 we used to travel with, I still speak to and see 10 to 12 of those guys, 14 of those guys on a regular basis. How many 43-year-olds can say that they speak to 10, 12, 14 of their best friends from growing up? I'm certain most of the guys in the room from Wantagh can. My brothers. How lucky and blessed am I to have that gift of friendship and love that still holds strong to this day. If you look at social media, you often see 16, 18, 20 kids at a gathering, and that's not a party. That's 20 best friends hanging out together. That's the culture that's been created in this town, largely in part due to how the kids are raised, but also due to the school activities created by you guys, our board, our administrators, our teachers, such as Wantagh Wear Wednesdays, which is absolutely fantastic for our kids. I also know a large piece of that is the sports culture that's been created here in our town, and that has to do with the great culture our town presents. We owe a lot of that precedent that has been set to our coaches and teachers who have paved the way for camaraderie that's created at an early age all the way throughout middle school and high school. John Chiffo created that within the lacrosse community here. Mr. C was a middle school lacrosse coach who I'm pretty sure created the Wantagh lacrosse program and was let go or not reinstated by the Wantagh School District, and from my understanding, no explanation has been given whatsoever other than it's time. I am sorry, but now, as a taxpaying member of this community, with all due respect, that is unacceptable. John Chiffo deserves better. He's earned better. As a longstanding varsity coach, John accumulated 262 wins, which puts him as a top 50 coach in New York State of all time. He has a state championship, a Long Island championship, and a county championship, all from 2001. You know how much his records mean to him? They matter a little bit. but they pale in comparison to what he really cares about, and it's his kids, me being one of them, and about 80 in here right now. He's a student-centered educator, and he is all about the kids first and his accomplishments last. Education is about relationships, period and end of story. I've adopted some of those best practices set forth by Mr. Chiffo because it's what we should center our focus on as educators and what I believe in. Kids nowadays need to know you care about them and their success before you can get them to do anything. The 2001 state championship was nothing short of spiritual in nature. As a 99 grad, we lost in the county semis to Limbrook, but many of my brothers, number 22 Scott Taverna, Chris Vitucci, Joe Gabriziak, Dan Finelli, and Patrick Walsh were all on the varsity team my senior year. We like to joke and say we paved the way for them, but we all know Scott did that for them. Which brings me to my next point. Scott Taverna was a member of the Wantagh varsity lacrosse team who tragically passed away. His honor and memory is woven throughout the lacrosse culture in Wantagh and honestly, the entire community. John Chiffo has made it his life mission to ensure Scott is with us every single day. Every day. And I can speak for every lacrosse player here to tell you, mission accomplished, Coach Chiffo. Because he certainly is with us every single day. I wore the number 22 in college in Scott's honor, and almost 90 players since then have done the same, some of them still active. Currently, Tyler Martini at Binghamton, Bam Sakos at LIU Post, who's also in the audience, Michael Orfiero at Dominican, all whom I've had the privilege to coach in some capacity and are fantastic young men. Please forgive me if I'm missing any current players that are wearing the number 22. There's a dinner every year that is the pulse of the program, and many people here are familiar with it. Each year at the dinner, the senior with the highest character and integrity, which is exactly who Scott Taverna was, is voted to wear the number 22 as a senior, as voted on by College Lacrosse knows it's a Wantagh lacrosse thing because of the legacy Coach Chiffo has created in Scott's honor. My own two sons wear the number 22 in Scott's honor, and they are very well aware of who Scott was from our conversations at home. Mr. Chiffo still plays an important role in all our lives. He may not like this, but he's now grandpa to our own children, all while having a family of his own at home with his wife and two children. That sounds like a ton of sacrifice if you ask me. Anyone who's married to a coach and their children in the family know the sacrifice set forth by a coach as it is a demanding schedule and requires a lot of work and being away from home. Mr. C still influences our relationship in a very positive way and is always trying to get us together. He doesn't have to do that, but he loves us, and we certainly love him. We all wear Wantagh on our chests, some on our sleeves, and sometimes our even socks and feet. Some guys like Matt Studdard, who was also on the 1999 and 2000 varsity teams, even get tattoos regarding this town. We love this place. Also about the state run. How many coaches can say they beat the number 1 and number 2 ranked teams in the entire country in the same week en route to a state championship? I know the answer. Great job to my brothers who are in this room and took home the only state championship in Wantagh lacrosse history. That is, until this year, boys. No pressure or anything. Just make sure you get to work. He is certainly overqualified to coach middle school lacrosse. He does everything that a varsity coach should be doing for a middle school team. He supervises the locker room before school ends until after school ends. He makes sure all the kids are prepared for every practice, wearing the proper clothing, and are equipped properly, student safety first and always. He gathers the group and makes sure they have the med kit, ice chest, AED. He then gathers 7th and 8th graders and walks them over to practice. At practice, Mr. Chiffo executes age-appropriate skills and game strategies. Mr. C practices for over an hour and a half, while we know most middle school coaches are walking out after an hour. Mr. C walks them back to the middle school after practice. He makes sure every kid gets on the bus and has a ride home before he leaves. He cleans up garbage after the kids in the locker room. On cancellation days due to inclement weather during the week, he reschedules the practice for the weekend and forfeits his Saturdays, which is not required of a middle school coach to do. But he loves the kids and the sport. And as a result, he chooses to do that. Talk about going above and beyond the description for a middle school lacrosse coach. How lucky are we to have this man working with our kids? We are very lucky. Everyone that lives here and has boys as children wants our sons playing for John in middle school. And I know I could speak for numerous members of the community that feel the same way. The four-letter word I use the most in my speech tonight is love. I love working with children. I love impacting lives inside of the gymnasium and on the field of play. I love molding boys and turning them into men. And while this certainly isn't about me, people need to hear that we all inherited our love for education and coaching from John Chiffo. Thank God for John Chiffo, and thank God for Wantagh Lacrosse. It has been a saving grace in my life, and I don't know where I would be without them. I strongly urge you to consider reinstating John Chiffo, as we all know, he is who is best for our kids' development in middle school boys lacrosse. Thank you.
Good evening. First, I'd like to acknowledge Athletic Director Keene. It's quite a story. I first met Jen during her first year here, and I hold her in the highest regard, and I have the utmost respect for her, and thank God she was there on that basketball court that day, and God bless you, Jen. It was wonderful. My name is Michael Giardina, and I've been a resident of this district for 33 years. I first met John Chiffo when my 31-year-old son started kindergarten at Mandalay School. I knew right away that John Chiffo was one of the good guys. You could see right away his warm, friendly demeanor and his love for his job and his students. 3 more daughters followed my son through Mandalay, then the middle school, and all graduated Wantagh High School. Interesting enough, they all have become teachers. 2 of them teach physical education, and both coach multiple sports. Truth be told, John Chiffo inspired my kids and helped lead them into their careers. He was the only educator from the entire district who they felt they could reach out to for guidance while on their paths to become teachers. Now, I'm not here to talk about me or my family. I want to talk about the real elephant in the room. Every organization, every job, every department, every corporation is made up of people. And I think we can all agree that every once in a while we stumble across a colleague who for some reason, for some unknown reason, just rubs us the wrong way. It's hard to sometimes pinpoint the reason. Perhaps it's jealousy or whatever the case. It's real. It exists, and it's also quite childish and immature. And this is what we have here right now. John Chiffo wasn't released from his coaching position for lack of performance. He was not released because he didn't show up for work and was excessively late for work, never disrespected or mistreated anyone. He was released because the athletic director just wanted him out. That childish display sets a poor example and is an embarrassment for the Wantagh School District. And it shows no loyalty to a man who showed nothing but loyalty to Wantagh for over 40 years. Whoever the potential successor is for John Schiffo will never display the love and pride for Wantagh like John Schiffo does. And I feel bad for the up-and-coming student athletes who will miss out on being coached by Coach Schiffo. You'll be doing these students a gross disservice. Now, when it comes to situations like these where children are involved, the question should never be who is right. The question should be what is right. And I'll say this, it's not right to release a man like John Schiffo, who dedicated most of his life to making Wantagh athletics better. He instills Wantagh Warrior pride into the students, and they carry that with them long after they graduate. His track record for success doesn't have to be mentioned. He's helped more student athletes reach the collegiate level, which has led them into successful post-college careers than any other coach in any other sport in the history of Wantagh athletics. He doesn't just teach young men lacrosse or coach lacrosse. He teaches them to be better people, better men, better friends, better husbands, better fathers. A man like John Schiffo deserves to leave this district on his own terms. And again, the question should be asked, not who's right, but what's right. I urge this board to reconsider the decision and bring John Schiffo back as middle school lacrosse coach. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Chris Vitucci. I am a current Wantagh resident as well as a proud alumni. My wife, who is also with us here tonight, is also a Wantagh graduate, and I currently have 2 children who are enrolled in the Wantagh School District. Today, I am here to talk about Coach John Schiffo and how it is a mistake not to have him coach any longer. I find it concerning that after 40 years of service, he is no longer the right person for the job. Coach Schiffo is one of the reasons why I became a physical education teacher as well as a coach of multiple sports at different grade levels. I always knew that Coach Schiffo was a great teacher and coach, but it wasn't until I started teaching and coaching myself that I really understood the sacrifices and commitment needed to sustain such a long tenure in this field, a journey that not many can achieve for as long as Coach Schiffo did. When I was a senior back in 2001, Coach Schiffo led our Wantagh men's lacrosse team to its first state championship. The years leading up to that state title were filled with adversity, specifically the tragic passing of a friend and former teammate to many of us here, number 22, Scott DeVerna. Not many people would have been able to do the things that Coach Schiffo has. Coach gave us the strength. He gave us the courage. He gave us the determination needed to succeed by showing us how important it was to stick together. How to overcome obstacles, how to play for something bigger than ourselves. It was during that time that we became a family and still are to this day. Scott's memory will live on. And the number 22 will always be a part of Wantagh men's lacrosse. We have Coach Schiffo to thank for that. When you see that number 22 on the shirts of your Wantagh athletes in the hallways or out in the community, I want you to remember Scott. And I also want you to remember Coach John Schiffo for always keeping Scott in our hearts and in our minds. This past summer, I played in a charity lacrosse game called Shootout for Soldiers. I suffered a severe injury while playing and had to have an emergency surgery. Fortunately for me, my wife, who is a doctor, along with the training staff, were able to keep me stable. Someone else who happened to be there, right by my side, was John Chiffo. He had apparently heard the news that a player had been hurt on one of the fields, and being the person that John Chiffo is, he came to offer his help, not knowing who it was. I could tell you this, as a 41-year-old man lying on the turf, hoping for the best, to hear Coach Chiffo's voice, and then to finally see him looking down on me, it was at that moment that I felt everything was going to be okay. Coach Chiffo will always be there for us. That's why we are all here for him. Coach Chiffo was the first non-family member to call my wife and check on me after my surgery while I was still in the hospital. When I came home from the hospital, I had many limitations and still do to this day. The first 2 weeks after my surgery were among the most difficult for me and my family. Coach Chiffo organized a get-together with a group of friends, teammates, in which they were going to stop by and have lunch with me and my family to take our minds off the struggles that we've been going through. And unfortunately, at the time, I was in a place where I didn't really want to see anyone. But Coach Chiffo understood. He didn't take any offense. He was still reaching out to me on a regular basis, always asking me how I'm doing, how's the family. I truly believe that no other coach would be that persistent in making sure my family and I were going to be okay. And I just want to tell him, if he's listening, thank you for everything, and it didn't go unnoticed. I believe I speak for all my friends, family, and former teammates here today when I say that Coach Chiffo is not just a great coach, but he's just a great human being. His love and passion for both his students and players, as well as the love he has for athletics and teaching, is unmatched. His dedication and commitment to keeping traditions alive, along with fond memories and stories we have shared, are what brings us together as a community. In closing, I understand, despite everything you have heard tonight regarding Coach Chiffo, you may still decide not to keep him as a coaching staff, on the coaching staff. I believe this would be a mistake that in time you will come to regret. Thank you.
Good evening, Wantagh community. My name is Jeremy Zygas. I'm an alumni from class of 2016 and a Wantagh resident. Today I'm here with one theme in mind, which is gratitude. The gratitude that we all have for Coach Chiffo, the gratitude that I have for my former teachers as well. Those of you who do not know me, I teach social studies in Brooklyn in East New York. One of the things that I'm most grateful for is the connections that I have with my students. The students who come to see me every morning, they come to check in, the simple things. I think back to my time as an elementary school student at Mandalay, and when I had Mr. Chiffo as a teacher. He was always there to greet me, say good morning, talk about the Yankees, whether they won or lost, of course. And I'm also thinking about my other teachers that I had that I'm grateful for. Mr. Aviles, Ms. Dragovich in the band department for believing in me to keep going and become a better drum leader. My coaches on the track, I never played lacrosse, but I do have that mentality of being a student athlete, what it means to represent Wantagh on county stages. And it takes a lot of pride to do that. So with that being said, I just want to remind us to be grateful for what Mr. Chiffo has done for our community. I want to inspire us to be caring warriors that we inspire our students to be every day. And with that, I just want to say thank you to the Board of Ed for their time, and just keep that in mind as you move forward. Just be grateful for us as our community and our staff members that represent us as a school and a community every day. Thank you.
Good evening, members of the board and the community behind me. I'd like to say my name is Maria Meneses. I've been part of the Wantagh community my whole life. I'm proud to call myself a Wantagh warrior. I'd like to congratulate all the athletes over here tonight for receiving their awards once again. Athletes. I come here tonight before you all, just not as a community member, but someone who is personally impacted by this incredible man. I was lucky to have him as a teacher, as well as a coach for my son. My son was lucky to have him as a teacher as well. 42 years, he wasn't just a coach, he was a mentor. To this day, I still have a relationship with him. I'm sorry. And now, after a lifetime of dedication and service that he's brought to me and to my children, it really hurts that he's being let go with no explanation whatsoever. I don't understand that. There has to be a complaint that was made from him, from a student, from a parent, anything. Give us something. Give us an answer to why. We talk about values in our district, respect, integrity, leadership. This isn't it. This isn't who we are. In middle school, we talk about caring warriors. That's who we are. We all care for each other. Mr. Chiffo cares about us all individually and as a team and off the field. So much more has he done for me and my family. When my son was hurt, he was there every day. He checked on him every day, every hour. There's nothing more that I could say about him that hasn't already been said by plenty of people behind me that still want to talk tonight. You may think this decision affected just one man. It most certainly didn't. It affected all of us in this community. All we were asking for is an answer to why he's not being brought back. I think he deserves that, and I think we all deserve that. I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for the time on this floor, Mr. McNamara, the board, the community. My name is James Fulton, a Wantagh resident. I've lived here my whole life. I'm a former graduate from 1997. I've known Coach Chiffo for over 30 years. My brother was also a part of the 2001 team. I had a whole speech in my head coming up here, sitting down, and I did come in late, so I missed some of it. But one thing I picked up on from my fellow brothers that have spoken, which I didn't even know, most of them turned their life from hanging out, being Wantagh kids, to educators and coaches. I myself graduated in 1997. I wasn't the greatest kid growing up, and one thing that Maria, who also graduated in 97, brought up that I haven't heard yet was mentor. Coach Chiffo took me and mentored me when I was in high school. He turned my life around. I myself turned my life around. I coach multiple sports. I have children in the community. My son, my daughter, they both came here. My oldest son, my older daughter graduated from Wantagh. The pride that we all have in this town is because of this town and this building. Listening to fellow students talk about they graduated, they became educators, they became coaches and mentors. This is a man who mentored me over the years, and I still have a relationship with 30 plus years later. From when I was here in 97, graduating, to today, I'm not a teacher, I'm in law enforcement. I turned my life around. I've been in law enforcement for the last 20 years. I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce here. I was a member of the Wantagh Fire Department. The people that are standing in this room that knew me from back in high school, if they were sitting here saying, yeah, 20-something years from now, Jimmy Fulton's be standing up at the podium talking to the Board of Education as a successful, highly decorated law enforcement official, a member of the community, and board on the Chamber of Commerce, they would not believe you. And this is because of one man, and it's John Chiffo. I'm not going to stand here and ask why this had happened. That's between you and him. What I am asking is that you take into whatever happened into consideration, look at the people that are in this room coming up there spending their time to discuss this and tell you their stories of Coach Chiffo. Like I said, this town was built on integrity. It's built on just leadership in itself. Everyone in this room has gone on to have successful lives, families. Like I said, most people stayed here, and we stayed here for a reason. It's not just this town, the brotherhood, but because of this education facility. I wanted my kids to go to the same school that I went to, because of the success here. Wantagh Schools has always been, and as far as I know, will be, to have the highest academics and also athletics. Just growing up in this town, living here has brought such great pride to me to have my kids go through the same thing. Again, I implore you to reconsider whatever the choice was and why it was made. Being in the law enforcement community and a community member here, the petition was started 24 hours ago, not 48. And it was close to 700 last time I checked. Just that petition alone going out in the last 24 hours, I have received calls from members of the community that are in politics. They could not be here because they are up in Albany. High-ranking members of the law enforcement community that live here and their children went to school here, and they asked me what had happened. I said, I don't know what happened. That's not my business. But I will tell you this. I am coming down to the meeting. I came straight from work here. I actually left early to come here. Not to ask, not to inquire, but just to look around and have you think about this. A man who spent 40 years, 40 plus years, as an educator, as a coach, as a leader, like everyone said up here, he is a mentor. Looking at the people that were speaking today, they're saying the same thing. Having me stand up here, and they're looking going, I can't believe that that's him from 1997. I can look around the room and say the same thing. And we're standing here today, successful members of the community, mentors ourselves, coaches ourselves, all because of John Chiffo and what he did for us and us boys. Again, I implore you, whatever the consideration was, whatever the circumstances were, to reconsider and think about the children. Because as Board of Education, parents, community members, and coaches ourselves, that's all that matters, is the children. And like I said, if it was something that happened with a child, with a parent, it's understandable. If it's another reason, think of the children. Look at the people that's lives he's changed over the last 40 plus years. People came up here with stats written down, championships, games he's won, years, education. The one stat that I don't have, that nobody in this room has, is how many lives Coach John Chiffo changed over the last 40 plus years. Again, I thank you for this time, and I ask you to reconsider. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ryan Walsh. I'm a resident of Wantagh, 2011 grad. I actually brings back memories. I don't know, probably a lot of people here. 18 years ago, I stood up here when Coach Keith Sachs was fired for a number of reasons, and Mr. Brown pulled me in his office. We shut down the road so no one could pick up their kids at middle school. Probably a bad idea looking back on it. And you know, as being a young kid, you're filled with emotion of how someone treated you and how someone made you feel. And you know, that didn't age too well for this school, because the person who they hired had a list or you know, a report longer than John Gotti. He didn't last too long, so they brought Sachs back, and the Vegas gold helmets with it, not the black helmets. Whoever chose that is out of their minds. And then, as I said, it didn't age too well, because congratulations to these guys on a Long Island championship this past year and kicking ass with Coach Sachs at the head. And before he got there, you couldn't even spell football in this town. Same thing with lacrosse. These guys put their heart and soul into this neighborhood. Same with Coach B, who's at the state championship right now, leading our girls to the first time potential state championship, right? These men share the same identity, right? And I'll just walk you through some of my experiences with Chiff that have nothing to do with lacrosse. Some, I guess, to some degree. But he was my elementary school teacher at Mandalay. 4th grade, obviously, many of you guys lived through 9/11, right? We didn't hear from my dad or my uncle. I walk into school the next day. First person to get me off the bus, it wasn't the wellness people, if they even existed back then. It wasn't anyone mental health squad. It was John Chiffo greeting kids, getting off the bus, right? Kids, cops, firemen, because this is what this town was built on. Cops, firemen, middle-class workers. He brought all of us into the gym, and we spent the whole entire day with him. The entire day. because he didn't give a shit about lacrosse. He didn't give a shit about sports, his record, the state championship. He cared about kids, right? When I wanted to leave school my freshman year at Colgate, stick it out, keep going, right? Couple months, 6 months later, he's standing at the Elite Eight against Duke with his 22 shirt. He's the first person in the stadium like this. You did it, right? You got through it. You wanted to quit, you kept going. When I was working in Manhattan, I wanted to quit my job. He said, quit. You're a teacher. You're a teacher. You should be working with kids. I quit. I'm now a coach and teacher at Kennedy High School. The best decision I ever made. This town deserves John Chiffo. The kids deserve John Chiffo, just like me and all the alumni, right, had the ability and opportunity to work with. You're doing them a disservice. You're doing them a disservice in this town and community and the wonderful kids that continuously fill these hallways, right? Because not much has changed in this building. The only thing that changes is the kids, right? You come back in this building, it's like you're going back in time. Not much has changed, for better or for worse. I don't know where the money's going. But again, John Chiffo, I'm so lucky to have him as a coach, as a mentor, and now as a friend, and I'll have that for life. And I hope these kids coming up can have the same experience.
Hi guys, good evening. My name's Nicole Diaz, and I grew up in Wantagh, and now having learned about what decision was made about not bringing Coach Chiffo back, I wanted to share a little bit, and thank you for my former classmates who highlighted so much of what he did for the lacrosse program, and just in particular following the tragedy of my brother's passing. I just want you guys to really hear it from me that my family, he didn't need to do these things. So I get choked up, of course, and the boys know that every year at the lacrosse dinner I get choked up. Because even Sunday is the 26th lacrosse dinner. And Coach Chiffo has since long retired. He has been still part of this community as a coach, but he chooses to still come back and instill the same values to the young athletes as he did for the boys, especially in the wake of Scott's passing, all of us who lived through that tragedy. But he's decades later still doing that for your kids, for our kids in our community. And I wanted to also highlight that he carried the grief of all of those boys on his shoulders. And he did that, and he still does it, and he still treats our children the same way he did his students at the time. He was my elementary school teacher at Mandalay, and he, greets all of the kids on the field with the same wonderful attitude. My children wear 22 because of the traditions that John Chiffo started. And, just not just as an educator or a coach, but as a father and a community member. John doesn't live in district, yet he gives his entire soul to this athletic program. He does a lot for his own town that he grows up in, that he raised his kids in and that they grew up in, but he does so much for our town. So it really brought a big smile to my face this fall when I saw him coaching the soccer team, and he treated me the same way he did back in the 90s. And so I really wanted to highlight that today. So thank you for your time. That I want you to know that all of his efforts have woven that very fabric that we have such a great sense of pride in from being here in Wantagh. So thank you.
Phenomenal job by so many people speaking tonight. My name is Eric Dunn. I'm also part of the class of 02. I was on that 01 team. I am in education myself. I teach and coach in Farmingdale. And, nowadays especially, I think every school has that mantra of once a Daler, always a Daler. Once a chief, always a chief. Once a warrior, always a warrior. I got to tell you, I just don't think that's necessarily true. It's not true everywhere. The people who make sure that that saying remains true are the educators who go above and beyond for their kids after they leave school. because I think that everybody's talked about what John has done for them while they were here, and I don't think that's in doubt. I can tell you that he had such an impact on the way that I treat my children and the relationships that we try to form with our players after school. Because John, when you left here, you were still part of the program. I can remember John calling us nights before big games, right? Checking to see if we were ready for the game, calling us after big wins, calling us even more importantly after big losses, right? I've had the opportunity to coach with him, against him. I just think that when we look at sports today, I've had the opportunity to see it bring out the best in people and honestly bring out the worst in people. And that's a man right there that consistently finds ways to bring out the best messages in sports. I've coached against him in middle school soccer and varsity lacrosse. He treats the kids with respect. They're getting all of the right lessons that you're supposed to get out of sports, which a lot of times today are not always construed the correct way, right? I know there's, coaches are kind of a rare commodity now, like John Schiffo. Okay, you have a lot of guys that can coach but aren't necessarily great humans. You got a lot of great humans that maybe can't coach. John is a rare combo that can do both. And I think that it's a travesty for this community to lose a coach like that, especially at a middle school level where you have such impressionable kids who are really at that level. The most important thing is making sure that you install a love of the game and the right attitude and the right morals that sports is supposed to provide. And that is maybe John's best gift as a coach, right? I know that one of the things that we see across the board here is there's a drop in numbers and participation in almost every school district. That's not a result of guys like John Schiffo, right? He's a guy who went out and got elementary school kids from Mandalay at young ages, installed a love of the game, all right, and helped grow this program from the ground up. And it's still involved today. I mean, I can't imagine how many retired former head coaches are willing to work a middle school job, but also run the Alumni Association, the fundraising campaigns, actively recruiting some of the guys that are in this room. Okay, I know that he's called me to call college coaches on their behalf. I know he's called college coaches on their behalf. People still reach out to them, so he is still in a retirement as an 8th grade lacrosse coach, actively getting kids recruited to college and helping them in their path to find a successful career. So I just implore you guys to reconsider this decision. I don't think that you can replace a guy like John Schiffo. I don't think there are many guys like John Schiffo anymore in the coaching community, as sad as that is to say, all right? But I just think that, obviously we talked about what an incredible what an incredible man he is to all of us. I'd hate for it to see our future students lose out on that same opportunity. Thank you.
Good evening to the board. Congratulations to the athletes and to the seniors that are going to be graduating in June. I actually didn't prepare anything. I've been writing notes on the back of the drama flyer as everyone's been talking, so just bear with me. I'm here tonight with my fiance, Peter Felix, who graduated in 1984 and was a big part of the lacrosse program here at Wantagh. I'm a current resident in Wantagh. 2 of my children went through Wantagh schools. My daughter Lauren graduated in 2016. My son William DeRoche would have graduated this June 2023. William played soccer for the most part, and John Schiffo also coached. We've been talking about lacrosse all night. He did coach William in soccer. He also coached William in lacrosse. I can't even put into words what Schiffo did for William. William did not have a lot of confidence entering middle school. John took him under his wing. He instilled confidence in my son like I've never seen in my entire life anyone do for a child. He taught him responsibility. He taught him morals. He teaches the boys etiquette. He is a family member more than a coach. He watches over them like they're his own. When William passed suddenly, August 2023, he was, the day William passed away, he was on the phone with Peter. I don't even know how he found out. My own mother didn't know yet. He called Peter and wanted to know if I was okay. He has called Peter and texted me, but for the most part, he speaks with Peter directly. I don't know how, at least once a month, if not a few times every month, to check in on me and my family. I didn't grow up in Wantagh. I grew up in Freeport. My father was a phys ed teacher, a coach, a ref. I know what sports does for kids. I was three-time varsity athlete in Freeport, tennis, gymnastics, lacrosse. I started the girls' lacrosse team in Freeport with my friends. I never thought I'd find a community like Freeport. But house hunting, we wound up in Wantagh. And I know a friend of mine's in the audience. He went through Freeport schools, Maddie. And he lives in Wantagh now. There's nothing like Wantagh. There really isn't. And teachers, I mean, you know, John McNamara, you helped me with William. You probably don't remember, but he had an issue at Beach Street, and you were there for me. The teachers, the coaches, this is a family, this community. And to let someone like John Chiffo go, for what? We don't even know. We can't imagine what he's done. Why would he be let go? Why him? He bleeds black and gold. We just don't understand it. I mean, he's a legend. If anything, he should be leaving on his own terms, and we should be honoring him for the service he's given to this community. I mean, there's really nothing else to say. We all hope you'll reconsider. We don't understand it. Again, someone did say something. I'm a teacher in Freeport. I'm currently on leave. And someone did mention, if God forbid it had something to do with a child or an issue, we understand. But to our knowledge, that's not the issue. So we don't understand. And I think we deserve an explanation. At least he does. Thank you.
I'll speak quickly. First off, I want to say thank you to the board. Thank you for our administration. And, a few things. First, to our administration, I've had the privilege to work with administrators here. And I know that they're amazing people, amazing administrators, and our school's in a good place. To speak to the Board of Education before I do, guys, just congratulations to you guys as athletes and everything you guys have done. And I'm really happy that you guys are here, and I wish there were a lot more of you here to listen to the type of people of one who paved the way for you guys. But the fact is, we're here for you, every single one of us. All right? So if those of you who don't know the Board of Education, these are just parents, community members whose children went through the school. Maybe some of them, they might not even have children here. But they're here devoting their own time, an endless amount of time that you guys can't even imagine for you guys. All right? And they represent us as a community. And we really appreciate that. We sincerely do. And we appreciate this administration. And we are all here for the same exact reasons. Every single one of us are here because we want the best for you. We want the most for every single one of you guys. And without question, John Chifo is the person who did that, like without question. You know, hopefully tonight, I think a lot of you probably know a lot more about the Wantagh lacrosse program, and I think I know that you guys do. I think you know a lot more about the man who built it. And this isn't some Facebook post that might have said something that they shouldn't. You know, I know some of the older generation, we're not even good with social media, let alone our parents. You know, I'll tell you one thing. I mean, John is someone who embodies what Wantagh is, what we represent as a community. And I will say another thing, as an administrator myself as a school, and you know, and a profession that I love. All right, I love helping students. I love being here for all of you guys. At the end of the day, we're human beings and we make mistakes. And I don't think I have to speak towards John's character anymore. I mean, I love him. He's been there in every single way, not just for me, but everyone in this community. I think we should learn that we are human beings. We make mistakes, but we can fix them. Thankfully, in this job, when we make mistakes as administrators, board members, all right, we're not members of the fire department where people can die, or we're not surgeons where, you know, someone's going to die on the table if we make a mistake. We can fix the mistakes we made. But I hope for anything that we do realize what this community is built on. I thank everyone for being here tonight on behalf of Coach Chifo. You know, we thank you guys for everything you do, and we really, truly love you and support you. And I want you to know that we're always going to do what's best for our students. And when it's the other way around, all right, and anyone else here in this community needs help, or someone on the board, administrators are here, we'll support you if that's that's what's best for our children. And I really hope you do know that. We support Wantagh in every single way we can, but please understand why this is so important to everyone else. And thank you so much for your consideration. Thank you.